Every year, Girl Scouts put down the crafts and camp stoves and set up shop in grocery store parking lots across America to sling Thin Mints, Tagalongs, Trefoils, Samoas, and Lemon Ups, just as they have for the past 100 years. Whether you buy 1 box or 12, everyone's got a favorite cookie, and every cookie sold makes the Girl Scouts grow stronger. But how did this whole cookie thing get started? Today, we're taking a brownie-sized bite out of the history of Girl Scout cookies. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. And let us know in the comments below what other American food traditions you would like to hear about. All right, Scouts, time to earn our Weird History badge. In 1911, Juliette Gordon-Low, known by most in her day as Daisy, sat down for an English luncheon with Sir Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of the worldwide scouting movement. His influential work, Scouting for Boys, came out only 3 years prior and acted as a foundational work for the formation of his Scout Association. While Sir Robert was busy organizing scout troops all across the UK, he lent his ideas to a group of aspiring Boy Scouts across the pond and helped his own sister, Agnes Baden-Powell, form an offshoot of his movement for girls, known at the time as the Girl Guides Association. And so, at that fateful 1911 luncheon, Daisy was inspired by all that Sir Robert had done. At just over 50 years old, she was freshly widowed and entirely deaf, and had been traveling around England searching for meaning and generally trying to get her groove back. The chance meeting with Sir Robert gave her just the push she needed. Daisy raced back across the Atlantic to her hometown of Savannah, Georgia, and in 1912, she gathered together 18 girls and formed the very first group of American Girl Guides. She taught these girls basic homemaking skills, like sewing, cooking, and taking care of the ill. But she also placed heavy emphasis on outdoor education and play, allowing her group of ragtag girls to camp, garden, and even play the relatively new sport of basketball. It's our responsibility to assume Daisy played above the rim and absolutely dominated the court. Just a little while later, Daisy would change her group's name from the Girl Guides of America to the Girl Scouts of the United States of America, a move that the then Chief Boy Scout executive James E. West worried would sissify the Scout name. Settle down, Jim. West brought legal challenges against Daisy in an effort to prevent the name change, but he was unsuccessful. So, the Girl Scouts marched on. While Daisy would step down from the Girl Scout presidency in 1920, 2 years prior to the creation of the first nationalized Girl Scout cookies, there would not have been any Girl Scouts in America without her. And the likes of Carrie Fisher, Taylor Swift, and Mariah Carey would never have worn that iconic vest. Kind of amazed Tay-Tay hasn't written a breakup song about Thin Mints yet. The first known Girl Scout cookies were baked and sold by the Mistletoe Troop in the Muskogee, Oklahoma High School cafeteria in 1917. While others may have baked cookies for fundraising in the years that followed, it wasn't until 1922 that the first ever National Girl Scout cookie recipe went to press. Tragically, it wasn't for Samoas. That year, in the July issue of the American Girl magazine, Chicago-based Girl Scouts director Florence E. Neal wrote an article detailing how to bake and sell cost-efficient sugar cookies to help raise money. She included a recipe with her article, which called for just a cup of butter, sugar, eggs, vanilla, milk, and flour, all of which Neal claimed could be bought for about 30 cents. Those 30 cents could yield about 7 dozen of her cookies, though, and so Neal suggested selling those cookies for about 25 to 30 cents per dozen, allowing for anywhere between $1.50 and $2 in profits from every batch. Over the decade that followed, baking and selling cookies became a primary mode of fundraising for individual Girl Scout troops across America. And as this trend became ever more popular, the National Girl Scout Council took note. In 1933, the first ever official Girl Scout cookie sale was held in Philadelphia. They sold boxes of 44 cookies for 23 cents a pop, or 6 boxes for $1.24. The sale was so successful that in the following year, the Girl Scouts of Greater Philadelphia contracted a commercial baker to do their dirty work for them. They soon flooded the streets of Philly with Girl Scout cookies galore, coordinating with local gas and electric utility companies to showcase their cookie lineup in windows across the city. Just 2 years after that, in an effort to standardize their cookie recipes across the country, the Girl Scouts Council licensed their first ever industrial bakery. They began selling these mass-produced cookies through 125 local chapters, and a veritable army of cookie-wielding scouts set out to conquer America. And in 1939, the Thin Mint was baked. Sort of. It was called the Cookie Mint, and it was set to change the world. Unfortunately, the Cookie Mint, along with pretty much everything else on the cookie front, soon came to an abrupt halt as the nation entered World War II.
December 7th, 1941, a state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire.
Sugar, flour, and butter were strictly rationed, which brought all cookie production to a screeching halt. For a time, the Girl Scouts were reduced to selling calendars depicting various scenes of homespun Americana. But everyone agreed the calendars did not taste as good. But when the war ended, the cookies made their triumphant return. And by the end of the 1940s, the Girl Scouts got back on track. By 1950, the Girl Scouts had just shy of 30 licensed bakers producing cookies nationally. And in 1951, they came up with their first 3 standardized cookies: sandwich, shortbread, and chocolate mints, which roughly translate to today's do-si-dos, trefoils, and thin mints. Luckily, home refrigerators had been a new kitchen mainstay by this point, so people could store the mints in the freezer, where they belong. But as the baby boomer generation exploded into existence and began to join Girl Scout troops by the millions, the cookies took on a whole new life. The Girl Scouts had a sudden need for a stable and consistent brand. With millions of scouts out there slinging cookies, the days of baking up a few dozen cookies in the high school cafeteria were gone. The Girl Scout cookie had made it to prime time. So, by the 1960s, the Girl Scouts had whittled their 30-ish bakeries down to just 14, in an effort to better unify their flavors across the country. By the 1970s, those 14 bakeries had dropped to just 4, and by the 1990s, only 2 bakeries were left standing. It was around this time that the Girl Scouts began to award their brownies, juniors, cadets, and seniors with pins for selling cookies. Do the pins come with cookies? Seems only fair. Then, with everything streamlined and with an incentive structure in place, all that was left to do was start moving cookies. Over the years, dozens of flavors came and went. Some too soon, and others not soon enough. We're looking at you, Praline Royale. The original lineup of do-si-dos, trefoils, and thin mints are reportedly the only 3 cookies that will never be retired or discontinued under any circumstances. Still, not one of them is immune to a facelift from time to time, as even Thin Mints have changed their name half a dozen times over the years. They've gone from the 1939 Cookie Mint to Chocolate Mint to the singular Thin Mint to Cookie Mint to Chocolate Mint, but then back to the singular Thin Mint before landing once again on Thin Mints. Got all that? Good. In addition to the core 3 flavors, tagalongs have been a popular mainstay since the 1950s, and Samoas likewise reached unimaginable heights when they launched in 1975, and haven't come back down to earth since. Not all flavors were as fortunate, though. Some older cookies to have gone the way of the dodo were the kookaburras of the 1970s and 80s, rectangular cookie bars that had a caramel-covered layer of crispy rice dipped in chocolate. There were also vanchos, a vanilla and chocolate mashup, which lasted from 1974 to 1983, and Scott Teas, which launched in 1968 as a trefoil competitor in the shortbread category. But even those discontinued varieties had some respectably long runs. Several cookies of the 1990s, including Praline Royales, Snaps, and Le Chips, all had short runs, including some that were available for just 1 season, proving once again that you can't stuff praline into something and tell kids it's a treat. The 2000s also saw some high-profile cookies come and go, including Thanks-a-Lots, which seem to be congratulating you for eating them, Aloha Chips, and the Lemon Chalet. All in all, over 50 different flavors have reportedly been discontinued over the decades, a number that will, tragically, only continue to rise with time. While online petitions have emerged to bring some of these flavors back, very few have ever been revived. The Girl Scouts can be cruel.
The cookies are here!
Today, the Girl Scouts still rely on just 2 bakers to fulfill all their cookie needs: ABC bakers and Little Brownie bakers. Each baker supplies different regions of the country with cookies. They create their own unique flavors of cookie each year, but both bakers are also responsible for making the 4 universal Girl Scout cookies: Thin Mints, Samoas, Tagalongs, and Do-si-dos. However, when producing these 4 cookies, the 2 bakers call the same products by different names. While Little Brownie Bakers makes Samoas, ABC Bakers makes Caramel Delights, presumably because they're big fans of Groove is in the Heart. Meanwhile, Little Brownie whips up batches of Tagalongs, while ABC cooks up peanut butter patties. It's confusingly delicious. If the name is a no-frills description of the cookie, like peanut butter patties, it probably came from ABC. If it's named like a luxury car, like a Do-si-do or a trefoil, it's probably from Little Brownie. But Thin Mints are Thin Mints no matter where they're made. And they likewise remain the most popular Girl Scout cookie today, comprising about 1/4 of all Girl Scout cookie sales. When production is in full swing, the bakers cook out over 4.5 million Thin Mints every single day. That's a lot of freezer space. Coming in just behind Thin Mints are Samoas, taking in about 1/5 of all sales. Despite being the obviously superior cookie, their popularity has caused Keebler, the parent company of Little Brownie Bakers, to make their very own year-round Samoa knockoff, Coconut Dreams. Those tree-dwelling elves will steal anything that ain't bolted down. With both Thin Mints and Samoas making up almost half of all Girl Scout cookie sales, it's no surprise that they briefly got their own cereal flavors in 2017, but they were discontinued the following year. Today, Girl Scouts sell about 200 million cookies over a 6 to 8 week period that runs every year sometime between January and April, depending on the local Girl Scout Council. During that period, they collectively rake in about $800 million. Thanks a lot, cookies. No, not those. Never those. After paying about $200 million of that to cover the cost of production, Girl Scout troops are left with $600 million in profits, all of which stays local to the troops, and none of which goes to the National Girl Scout Organization. With that money, the troops maintain their camps and properties, fund their outdoor trips, participate in community building projects, and help girls to develop skills in entrepreneurship and STEM. So the next time you pass by a pig-tailed Thin Mint peddler in the Kroger parking lot, don't avoid eye contact. Oh, and get us a couple boxes of Samoas while you're there. So what do you think? What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.